What's up, Bulldogs? All right, just came back from Tony Robbins UPW, and it's a 4-day event. You don't sleep, you basically don't eat very much, and you're on your feet, jumping up and down, just like extremely exhausting event. But you know, came back today, Sunday, about 4 o'clock, and I have to do 2 workouts. I just finished my trail run. It was tiring, I gotta tell you. Like, I was not feeling like coming home and doing that run. But the thing is, like, you can't allow yourself to have an excuse, even a good excuse. After this, once I get back to my car, I'm going to drive over to the gym and I'm going to do a brutal, like, full body workout because that's what's on the agenda, right? That's the thing that I'm supposed to do today. So I'm going to do it, right? There's just no question. There's no way that I'm not going to do what I'm supposed to do, what my training is, regardless of how tired I am, regardless of how sleep deprived I am, you know, because that's what it takes, right? One of the really cool things, I think, in UPW, and I had a lot of really good information from that, and I'm not going to really share all that in this video, but one of the things I'd like to share is this idea of having standards. And he was talking about how, you know, if you have poor standards, you get no results. If you have good standards, that's even good enough, you're going to get poor results, poor rewards. If you have great standards, you get good results. If you have excellent standards, you're going to get good results, actually. And if you have outstanding standards, that's where you get all of the rewards, all the great results. And it just really made me think about more about how, like, sometimes my philosophy of the work ethic of, like, never giving up and, like, going and always doing the workout, even when I'm tired, even when I'm injured, you know, sometimes it's not that I necessarily question that, but a lot of people are resistant to that, and they say, well, you know, that's ridiculous. It doesn't actually produce any kind of real result. You can get injured. But, you know, that just convinced me even more so that it's like, people don't understand. Like, excellent, really good, it's not good enough. Like, outstanding is the level that you have to shoot for, you know, in this world, if you want to actually get results. Because it's, you know, Tony Robbins was talking about how it's like a 2 millimeters of a difference. And that's really what it comes down to in life. Is it's like, yeah, I could come home from that event and, you know, rightfully so, I could say, yeah, I'm too tired. It's fine to miss this workout. I can make up for it tomorrow or whatever. I don't need to do 2 workouts, or I can take it easy and not give it my best. But if I do that, if I make that choice, that's that difference. That's a 2 millimeter difference. You might think that, oh, it doesn't matter when you make that choice one time, but it does, because how you live one day is how you live every day. And so if I let myself off the hook that one time, you know, that little bit of difference, that's the difference between at the end of a 50-mile race, being at mile 30 and going on and running 20 more miles, or DNFing and giving up, right? It's that's a choice, right? And so if I make this choice now, if I'm like, I'm injured, I'm tired, whatever, then when I do get in that situation where it does count, I'm gonna make that same choice. There's no reason to think that you're not, like, you know, because the conditions are gonna be worse. They're gonna be more brutal, right? After 30 miles, you know, I've run a 50-mile race before, and I can tell you, at 30 miles, you're dead, you're done, you're more exhausted you've ever been in your life, and you still got 20 to go. And so it's just your willpower, it's just your sheer determination of just deciding that you're gonna have an outstanding standard. And that's kind of the thing that I think I need to make a shift in my belief system, in my life, is realizing that what I've been kind of doing is killing myself, pushing myself, trying to be good enough, or trying to maintain what I have, or trying to prove that I still got it. Whereas that's harder to do than pushing yourself beyond where you were before and having an actually outstanding standard of thinking about, like, it's not about even what you accomplish, it's about how far you're willing to go and how hard you're willing to push it, how much beyond what other people are willing to do, you're willing to do it. It's having that standard of saying, hey, no matter what the circumstances, no matter what excuse I have, good or not, I'm going to do what I committed to do, and nothing is going to stop me, right? And that's that level of extreme excellence, of outstandingness that's required in order to actually really be successful. When I look at my life and I look at the times where I have had that outstanding level of success, it's because I've been relentless in my attitude, and I have not compromised at all, right? And so it's like all those little moments when you decide to go the extra mile, when you decide to push on, even though you're injured, even though you're tired, even though you want to give up, those are the moments that actually influence your decisions later when it does count. Because it doesn't count today, it doesn't matter. But there is a point in the future where it will count, where it will matter. And the choice that I'm making today is the priming for the choice that I'm going to make in the future, if that makes sense to you. So when you feel like giving up, when you feel like you've got an excuse, a good one or not, you've got to decide in that moment, do you someday want to become great? Do you someday want to become outstanding, right? And if the answer is yes, then in every single moment, you have to make that choice, not just the ones that count. Because if you don't make the choice and the moments that don't count, you're not going to make the choice in the moments that do count. And sometimes you're not even going to know the difference, because sometimes what you think is a moment that doesn't count is actually the one that did make all the difference, because those little moments that don't count, they add up and they compound over time. You know, it's making those choices and running those extra miles, that 2 millimeter of a difference that will compound over time and separates, you know, the winners from the losers, right? And it's not enough, you know, that's the other thing that really, you know, this whole UPW kind of reawakened in me, is that it's not enough to meet other people's standards. Like everyone else says, you're great, you're wonderful, you're excellent, that it doesn't matter, right? I did another video on this talking about this, but you know, I'll double down, I'll triple down on this, is that it only matters what you think. And you can have a ridiculous, crazy, outstanding standard that's everyone would say is insane, but that's fine, and you should. Like, because if you're not going to live to your fullest, if you're not going to live to those extreme values, then you're not really making the most of the opportunity that you have, right? And that's the thing, is like it's you're not going to get the reward if you're not willing to go there, right? And most people aren't willing to go there. The competition is not much, because most people are never ever even going to even really try. And then for the people that do try, they're gonna think good enough is good enough. They're gonna think great enough is great enough. They're gonna think excellent is excellent enough, but they're not gonna think outstanding, because that's a lot harder of a standard to hold for yourself.